Y'all ready? First of all, there's a lot more important things today than this media conference. Make sure you go vote. I'm dead serious. That's what I'm going right after this. So, that's an important part of our history of our country, of course, but don't take it lightly and go from there. So we're excited about going to play Arizona. They beat us the last 3 years. They play really, really well at home. Definitely should have. I thought they should have beat Washington there. Took them into overtime. They ended up losing 35-28. And Rich Rod, he always has a way of getting his teams ready to roll and to go. And they've been beat up with injuries, but it looks like they've kind of got some things. And even though they had a rough game last week, they kind of got both their quarterbacks are both back healthy. They're both really good players. That's a key in your offense doing well. They move the wide receiver, Samaji Grant, back to running back. He's played there a little while now. He played there in high school. Looks like to me he's starting to hit the holes like Rich would want them to in their offense. So it's going to be a tough game for us. Our guys are excited about going there to play. It's always a tough place to play. So I'll take any questions at this time.
Mike, you mentioned voting. If you had to elect one college football coach for president, who would it be?
David Cutcliffe. Well-rounded, solid man, very outspoken, has his way. David Cutcliffe for sure. I'd vote for him for president. I wish he was running now, to be honest. So anyway.
You guys, obviously started to make some really good strides in special teams against UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had one field goal block, but Chris otherwise connected. Obviously the punt return game. Do you feel like you guys are starting to turn a little bit of a corner there, starting to get some things solidified with that unit?
Yeah, we keep moving forward. We've had some really good games. We've had some tough games. When you're going through all your kickers and all the things that we've had happen, and those kids are doing as best they can. They keep improving, and we need to keep improving. I thought during the open week we worked on that hard, and I think we saw some improvement in those areas.
Mike, Philip just told us that he felt like the last 2 weeks of practice that from his perspective, the team had lacked the type of focus that had pretty much come to typify it previous to that. Would you agree with his assessment? And second, in a follow-up, the responsibility of being the hunted instead of being the hunter. I would imagine it's changed to some degree the dynamic of how this program moves forward. Can you talk about that challenge as well?
Right. No, I don't agree with Philip, but Philip would say that after every practice if something went wrong. I mean, he's after everybody. He's a Tasmanian devil. We've had good practices. We just the other night we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and then Stanford is really physical up front, and we moved the ball, just didn't get it in the end zone. When you have honestly, I've said it before, but there was two plays really go either way in that game. We don't get a penalty. We don't drop the ball going in the end zone. We don't have a penalty called here or there. We score a touchdown, so it's a whole different football game. But that's how things happen, and you have to win those football games. The Denver Broncos have a phenomenal team, and they had a phenomenal year last year. But they had I'm not comparing us to the Denver Broncos, but I'm just saying on their run, people there for a while said, gosh, they're barely winning. They just kept finding a way to win. You just keep finding a way to win somehow, some way. Our team has crossed that hump now. We could not have won the last 2 games the previous years I've been here. But they found out how to win. They found out how to keep playing. They don't blink. They don't ever give up, and they just find another way to win. And we'll start clicking on all cylinders again, and I hope it's this weekend, but we will. And we'll just keep going from there. But I haven't seen a down practice or a practice where I really had to get after them type of thing. I hope Philip does feel that way because he's going to keep them motivated, which is good.
Do you mind if I follow up then?
Okay, what was the other part? I'm sorry.
The question of becoming.
I'm not that smart. I can't get two-part questions.
I'm barely smart enough to get the question out. So. Of becoming
being hunted.
Yeah, becoming a program that now all of a sudden is being hunted and that's
right.
a pretty new experience for most of these guys.
No, we talked about that today as a team. I talked to them about it last week. Now they are a team that basically everybody that we've played, when they show up to play us, they think we're the same old Colorado, so they come with the attitude, how in the world can they beat us? And they come with another set of intensity. And then as we keep going here, there'll be more and more on the line. And as more and more comes on the line, more and more things are magnified. And that way you've got to keep growing closer as a team, not get individual in those situations. And I definitely believe we'll do that. And I think the other night was a good example for us to understand any type of retaliation, any time of getting caught in the moment and losing your cool can hurt the team for chances of doing something great. And so that's a learning experience. And I think we all go through that in different levels as you move up in your job. And then you have kids. You got more responsibility with kids. You can't do the same things you did when you were 22, when you're 25 with, a 2-year-old. So I think that's just a growing process.
Coach, sorry, you guys committed an uncharacteristic 8 personal fouls in that game. Are you confident that's been corrected and it won't happen again? Or
Yeah, the personal fouls are judgment calls at times. Okay, so you're if we don't get a personal foul every once in a while, we're probably not being real aggressive. And I don't mean that mean or do anything vicious. You better play aggressive. The unsportsmanlike conducts after the play are what I'm ticked off about. Does that make sense? So, you teach them how to target, and every once in a while, a quarterback's going to slide when you're going to hit him, and you might hit him high. You're not trying to. They call it. That's the way our game is right now. And that's the way it should be. We should protect them. But after the play, hitting a guy after the play, pushing a guy after play, jawing with a guy after play, that's totally selfish. All that does is hurt the team. So you're going to have a personal foul every once in a while in football with guys running to the football, guys being aggressive. If you knock back the aggressiveness, then they're just going to run over you and run in the end zone all the time or vice versa. So there's a fine line there. But after the whistle's blown, those type of plays are what really irritates me. Those are selfish. Oh, yeah. We addressed it clearly.
Mike, offensively, the last 2 weeks, only 2 touchdowns on offense.
Uh-huh.
You want to I know you alluded to it earlier, but you want to just kind of get into what's been
I
happening
think
there?
I think we moved the ball good. Again, we had a unsportsmanlike conduct on the half-yard line on a second down. We had dropped the fumble on a ball on a handoff walking in the end zone. That's 14 points. At Stanford, we had a couple plays where we could have got in, didn't. We missed 3 field goals. You get in on the 1 touchdown they called back on us. You make 3 of those 4 field goals. It's a whole different game. So we're getting down there. We're moving. We'll start clicking and getting in there. They're also, they made some plays on defense on both sides of the ball. And we'll definitely, I feel like we'll get that clicking. You have those lulls on offense from time to time. That's why they always say, offense lights up the scoreboard type of thing, but defense wins championships. You got to have good defense, and we have good defense. And our offense will start clicking and getting the ball in the end zone, and we're going to need to in these games coming up for sure.
Coach, knowing of what went down last week between the Wildcats and Washington State, do you think in any way that kind of sets the bar for this matchup this week, especially since you guys are playing Wazoo next week? Does that set the bar in terms of where that comparison might be between the 2 teams?
It might in the outside realm, but truly each game's a game within itself. You always hear a coach say that, but that's truly the way it is. I don't know who's going to be healthy for our game next week. Washington State doesn't know who's healthy for their game. Comparing matched opponents, to me, this late in the season, there's so many things that go into it. I don't look at it that way. I look at, we got to win this game, and then we'll find a way to find a way to win the game next week. So I don't look at it as a comparison for us the next week at all.
Last year, Arizona kind of threw a curveball at you with Randall in that game.
Yes.
This year, kind of knowing, Dawkins and what he can do, how much does that kind of help in a preparation standpoint, and what are the keys to stopping that?
Right. Rich Rod's offenses have always had, if they had a running quarterback, all the way back to at West Virginia when they had, was it White? Yeah, Pat White. He was something else. And so he's always wanted good running quarterbacks to me. And when he has one, he's able to do a lot of things in his offense and get that going. He's always wanted to get his running back going on the inside zone and in the stretch play. So with him, Dawkins is really able to run the ball really well. He's big and fast. You know, Anu can really throw it, runs it okay, but not as good as Dawkins. You know, we should be prepared for that. Last year, you're right, they did get us with Randall. That changed the game on us. He made some good runs, and they did a good job of that. I hope we're ready for that. We're preparing for it every way we can.
Coach, not sure if there's a parallel here or not, but do you guys feel like maybe you understand where Arizona is right now and how dangerous they could be given where you guys have been in November and how badly you were trying to knock teams off when they came in here?
Yeah, I do think our guys have been in that situation before, and they understand that everybody's going to come to show up to play. It doesn't matter what everybody else says or what people tell you in the classroom. You ought to kill them or whatever. They understand. They've been in the exact situation, so I think you're correct. Hopefully they feed off that memory.
My kicking can be such a lonely position because, you know, all eyes are on you when that happens. So you have these three guys in.
Think about the kickers' moms.
Yeah,
That's really tough.
No, that's a great point. On that note, you've seen these guys execute. That they have the ability, Chris and Davis and even Alex. To me, the mental part of it is such a big thing for guys that young, particularly. You guys have a sports psychologist on staff. Do you use that in any way with them? Or
Chris Bader does a good job. We have a sports psychologist on staff, we talk to him too all the time. And it's just like your golf swing. You got to go out there and do it. You can do it on the practice range. You get out there and everybody's right there. You got to come through. And I thought that Chris kicked better last week. I thought he kicked really good today in practice. I thought Davis kicked good. I feel like those guys can definitely do it. They just got to consistently do it when the pressure's on. And I think the more they do it, the more they're in that, the more they're thinking about it all week, that they got to be the guy. I think that they get mentally tougher. I really do.
Paul, do you expect Davis to be healthy for Saturday?
Davis will be healthy for Saturday.
Mike,
Go ahead.
you spoke earlier about how they found a way to win.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember, was there a time when you said, oh, this is it, and all of a sudden the page turned and you saw them coming together, the team coming together and actually finding that way to win?
I had said it, like the last 18 months before. People would ask, do you need the signature win? Do you need this? And when will you do that? Will that happen? I said, it's a process, and when we're good enough to do it, we'll do it, and we'll keep doing it. So, you can look back and say this. There's kind of milestones along the way that all of those build up to it, from practice, from workouts, from meetings, from individual meetings with different kids, from all the things they've gone through to different games and positive and negative that have built to that point. They just don't they can handle the moment now. If it's good, bad, or indifferent, if it's lull, they just keep pushing through it, keep understanding. If I just keep playing, I keep doing my job, I keep working, keep fighting, that we got a chance to get it done. I think in the past, when they weren't sure about that, it was like, oh, no, and they panic a little bit or they lose a little bit of focus. I think we crank our focus up. I think we crank our intensity up and as a whole group.
Did you see something this year that was like?
I felt like it was building all along through spring, and then I thought summer camp, I saw it because every day they came ready to go. And I would challenge them different ways, and they would always meet the challenge, and as a whole group. And I think that's where I saw a lot of it happening.
Mike, the offense was on such a good roll through those first 7 games. They
Yep.
averaging like 44 points per game,
Right.
tons of big plays, and then it seemed like the breaks all of a sudden hit,
Uh-huh.
averaging, only 15 the last 2 games, I think only 2 plays longer than 20 yards. Do you like the way they're responding to this adversity?
Yes, I do. They're practicing hard. They understand, where we are. We had some chance for some big plays that we didn't make, that were there. They made some plays on us too. We just got to keep fighting, and eventually it kind of like I said before, we're kind of cracking it, and eventually the dam will break again, and here we flow again. It's a little bit of a rhythm situation. We got out of rhythm with some penalties and some different things there, and that always hurts offense. If you can get in rhythm, you kind of keep yourself going, and we haven't been able to stay on rhythm as much as we were earlier. And that's part our fault and part the other dudes on the other side too.
Mike, can you evaluate your offensive line a little bit? Aaron played a bit in that game. McKinley in that front, that front was pretty good, but just evaluate what they've done.
Yeah, I definitely think that they've really improved. I think they've played well enough for us to win in all the football games. Some games they haven't played as well as in others. We knew McKinley would be a beast out there, and he made some plays, and we thought he would. We would hope that he wouldn't just wreck the game, and he didn't just wreck the game, but he did make a couple plays that helped them. We would have liked to handle him a little better a couple times, but we did handle him enough to be able to move the ball and do some things there. I'm looking forward to see how they respond and play this week, and keep gelling. But I think they've played well enough for us to, in all 9 games, for us to have a chance to win all 9. I felt that they played well enough. It wasn't like they were just destroyed where we had no chance. There was moments that were not as good as other, but there was moments we dominated too. I think there was more moments that we controlled and dominated there was than negative moments over the 9 games.
How about Sam's health?
Sam should be back. He has that AC joint, so he's really sore. We'll see a little bit more. He did a little bit today. Hopefully he'll be able to do a little bit more tomorrow.
Coach, what does this game potentially mean for Sefo? I mean, the win against Stanford, the win against UCLA, they're of course wins, but Sefo's not smiling after those games. He's not having a grand old time. I think he knows more than anyone and is the first person to admit his shortcomings, that he could have played a bit better. How does that turn into a motivation factor for him heading into this matchup?
I think it turns into a big motivation for him. He wants to make sure, he takes full responsibility if the offense doesn't execute or score like it should. He feels like that, he maybe didn't play as good as he could in certain situations. Sometimes it wasn't his fault on different things, but his competitive attitude, he sees where we want to go, and he wants to make sure we get there. So he understands, he's mature enough to understand, a win's awesome, but also I can learn from this. I've got to do this better. Our team's got to do this better for us to reach the ultimate goal. And to me, that's a true mature champion. And he's grown into that process. My son was teasing, my youngest son was teasing me when I got home against UCLA. He said, Dad, a year ago you've been cheering and jumping up and down. And he goes, everything's changed now, hasn't it? I go, yeah. And he goes, it should have, but he was teasing me. He was ribbing me a little bit. And so I kind of smiled and said, yeah, I need to enjoy it. And I did, but at the same time, we're looking for something more than just a win, just a Pac-12 South win. Before, we were just trying to find a Pac-12 South win. Now that's all changed, which is a good thing. That shows you where we're grown to. And I think that's the same way Sefo feels.
Obviously, winning will take care of everything that's still out in front of you. But
right.
When do you, maybe you already have, but do you pay attention to the BCF playoff rankings, and when will you start paying attention if you haven't?
Dave Platia called me tonight and tell me what we're ranked. I won't watch it. I'll be here watching Arizona, and watching our practice film and talking to some of our kids and our coaches and recruiting and everything that we do. Academics, and you wear about 25 different hats. And so, but no, I won't worry about all that till the end. I will say, though, the more we're on television, the more we're ranked. I do notice that it helps recruiting. So that's a good thing when you call a kid tonight and you're gotten ranked. That's good. So that process of it does. But as far as what our team's doing or what we're doing, we understand that we take care of everything on the field.
Coach, speaking of that, are you allowed to address the growing voice for getting game day to Boulder?
That's none of mine either. That's another Dave Platiism, Jason, all those guys. Of course, that would be fun for our university. It'd be fun for our team. Hopefully that would be great. We keep winning. If we just keep winning, things like that happen. That's what I tell our guys all the time. Just keep focusing on the game at hand. You get that game, then you get the next one, and the next one. Everything just keeps falling into place, and you'll reach all your goals. The other thing that's really neat is more. Somebody was telling me the other day we've had, Isaiah Oliver got the Pac-12 Player of the Week on, especially we've had a bunch this year. Somebody said, "Well, Coach, isn't that great? They're voting." I said, "Yeah, when you win, you get that. When you lose, you don't get that." So that's just part of it, because you're making plays to get yourself there. So it all goes hand in hand.
Mike, are you aware of what Coach Petrino said in regards to the rankings? that apparently you need to have blowout wins, and how he seemed fairly dissatisfied that that's what will move you up. Were you aware of that? And then also, how do you feel about that?
No, I'm not aware of it, and I think if you just win and take care of, you'll move where you're supposed to go. Any final questions? Thank you, Coach. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.